So my friends, welcome to a new XRP update video. It's time once again to take a look at the chart, and while not much has really happened, we're going to look at the larger time frames now, just like we did yesterday in the live stream, just to see how high we might still be able to go. Where are the next selling zones for XRP? But of course, we'll also take a look at what might happen in the short term, so definitely stick around until the end. This could turn out to be a very exciting video. But before we get started, as always, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course feel free to join the free Telegram talk and signal group. If you're interested in updates, news or signals, feel free to join. You'll find the link for that and everything else for free down in the video description, and there you'll also find the link to my partner exchange, BingX. You can also buy XRP there, trade it on spot, or basically do anything else you want to do with XRP. Of course, you can also just hold it there or set up grid bots for potential moon targets of $4 to $5. The link for that is also in the video description. So let's get started. Right now we're trading at $2.81, and as I already said in the last video, or rather last week, the chart doesn't lie, and at the moment it just doesn't look very good. Despite the SEC situation, despite the Ripple card and so on, there's really very little happening with XRP at the moment. But we also have to point out the positives. We're still holding our support. Plus, we might also be in some kind of, well, I'll say falling wedge, but more likely a descending triangle. It would be a descending triangle if we take this red box down here as support. If we use this yellow line, it would be a kind of falling wedge, which I could just about go along with. What's definitely important is that we simply must not leave this zone below here anymore. That means below $2.66 things start to look bad, and it could jeopardize the entire bull run. But why anyway? Why have I been warning about this zone the whole time? For this, let's switch to the weekly time frame just to take a look at the whole thing from a bigger perspective. You all know Bitcoin had its top back in 2021 with a double top. That means first we had a bigger top here, then a sell-off, only to have another rally upwards, which in my opinion was completely unnecessary, and then let's say to crash into the bear market. And this exact one-to-one scenario is something we could currently be seeing with XRP. What is my problem from a weekly perspective? Of course, looking at it from a normal perspective, you have to say at this point, hey Manu, everything really does look good. We've seen an impulse, we've formed a higher low and then a higher high. That's all correct. What bothers me about this situation is that we have exactly the same catalysts as back then, or exactly the same scenario as with Bitcoin. You can already see here the weekly close back then for XRP, or rather the weekly wick, was at $3.40. The close a few weeks later here, that was in the week of July 14th, was at $3.45.5. That means, as you can see here, it's about 1.5%, which I've marked here, by which we reached a new all-time high. In my opinion, that's not an impulsive breakout. If we had closed a bit higher, maybe even here at the 355 mark. Okay, also where the 360, the 1.6 of 18 fib level is at the moment, all good, I have no problem with that. But honestly, I still don't really like it that much, because then the scenario would be that we're currently in a downtrend and could, and I'll just quickly sketch this for you, get a dead cat bounce into this zone, meaning between 330 and 345, which is still our sell zone, in order to then, let's say, slip into a bear market and also reach this lower low. So that's just something we need to pay attention to at the moment. I just wanted to give you the perspective from the weekly chart now. Still, it has to be said that as long as we continue to form higher highs and higher lows, everything is still absolutely within the normal range. It's just a point to show you that we had a similar scenario back then with Bitcoin, and it went straight into a bear market. And XRP just doesn't look extremely bullish at the moment. Nevertheless, my price targets basically remain the same internally, should we manage a breakout. And by breakout, I mean here above the level of about $2.97. Ideally, we hold that with a higher high on the daily chart retest and then move up. Then we'll reach our resistance zone from 330 to 345. That's where the decision will be made. If we break through there, my bullish price targets remain at around $4 to $4.10, or even at $4.60 and yes, above that. But at the moment, I don't really believe in that yet. So those are the next 3 take profit areas for the coming weeks and months that I could really see happening. We just have to pay attention to the details. And since I assume that we'll get a drop around the Fed rate decision or afterwards, this could also be, let's say, the last chance for XRP in the next few days to break out to the upside for now. We really shouldn't, in my opinion, fall below the mark of around $2.35. For me personally, that would pretty much be the end. And after that, we could possibly say goodbye to at least XRP and enter a bear market, but I think it won't make much of a difference for the altcoins overall. Feel free to write your opinion in the comments about what you think of this. As I said, I'm still quite optimistic in the short term, and I do think we'll reach this box, but after that, things get a bit critical. Let's also take a look at the funding rates, which as of yesterday were in favor of XRP. By now, though, the picture looks different again. It's completely average. So at the moment, it's really hard to draw any conclusions about XRP from the funding rates or anything else. But as I said, I remain optimistic. As long as our red box holds, everything's fine. XRP can go up. If we fall below that, in my opinion, it could actually turn into quite a bloodbath here with a drop of about 11 to 16%. As I said, just my opinion. I'd really like to know what you think, so let me know in the comments below. And otherwise, I'd just like to wish you all a great weekend, even if what I've told you here wasn't exactly bullish. But sometimes you just have to be honest. I wish you a great weekend. Leave a like, subscribe, join the Telegram group, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, ciao, and as always, stay crippy.